We are working it today with Andy Challenger at Challenger Grain Christmas, and the women are getting ready to walk off the job. Thanks so much for coming on this show.
Thanks for having me.
So what are you hearing about this Women's March?
Yeah, so the same group that put on this Women's March on Washington, which was a surprise hit. It was on a Saturday. Millions of people came out. And now they're planning on International Women's Day, March 8th, to have women leave the office, or they're even doing their work at home for a day. So it's the idea is a day without women.
A day without women. Just think about that. I'll be right here.
Yeah.
The show must go on.
46.8% of the workforce is women. So if this takes off and ends up being a success, it would be seriously impactful on businesses and across the country in all aspects of life, because women make up a huge chunk of the workforce.
Do you think women will join this, or they'll be too afraid of losing their jobs, perhaps?
I do think, the marches were on a Saturday. It was a lot easier in some ways for people to do it. This leaving the office means giving up your wages for that day and potentially even risking being fired. So it's a much bigger sacrifice, but if pulled off, it would have an even bigger impact.
Should you go to your boss and say, hey, I just want to give you a heads up on this?
Absolutely.
Find out what the company policy is.
If you're going to take part in this strike protest, make sure you tell your employer ahead of time. It'll protect you, certainly. We saw with this last week, immigrants day off. A number of people that had immigrated to this country didn't go into work, and if they didn't tell their employers, there were a few cases of people being fired.
Several cases. I know I am hearing about these now as well, and I think it's better to just be transparent and say this is what's going on, and not I'm sick that day, because if you're a woman, they're going to know what's going on, right?
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, let's move on to another topic. New rules are coming out in employee handbooks, starting with drugs and guns in the workplace.
Yeah.
What's that about?
So there's a whole slew of new regulations that are starting in this new year, and so employers have to be cognizant to update their handbooks in accordance with some of these new laws. There's been a lot of new concealed carry laws across the country that have gone into effect that allow employees to keep weapons locked in their car in the parking lot, but employers still have them in most of their contracts, no guns on the premises. So that means they have to reconcile that difference.
Also, there are new rules about background checks.
Yeah, certainly has been a big push to get background checks and that box you check on an employment form kicked off the initial questionnaire that new employees get. And in a number of cities, you're not allowed to put that on there. So employers have to be really careful not to include that check box on their employment forms.
And we are seeing changes in the minimum wage spreading across the nation. So what's happening with that?
Yeah, 19 states across the country have increased minimum wages. Have to get on board with that. A lot of them are coming into effect in July. Be prepared, and those rules are coming into effect soon.
Thanks for helping us out today, Andy.
Thanks for having me.